Shalom, friends. This is Jonathan Feldstein from the Genesis 123 Foundation. I'm really excited to take a few minutes now to introduce you to another good friend and thank those who participated in a really meaningful program that we launched recently in honor of Passover. I'm really grateful right now. Mimi Rosemarin is joining us. She's the global director of global development for Mayor Panim, one of our invaluable partners that deals with food scarcity, feeding hungry people who just don't have enough money to put food on their own table here, not just in Jerusalem, but throughout Israel. And because it's just before Passover, Mimi's not just dedicating herself to feeding other people, but she has a family to feed and a Passover Seder to make. So we're so grateful, Mimi, that you're able to take a few minutes out of your schedule right now and join us to share a little bit. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good. A welcome break from cooking and cleaning.
Indeed, indeed. So I wanted to do this video, and we're going to use it to share, first of all, to thank the people who have already contributed to our campaign, something that we felt called to do, that Passover is coming. It's a holiday that's very food-centric, and a holiday, particularly given the last year, which I want to talk about with you, that's, I think, become more challenging. Last year was very difficult. So I'm really pleased to let you know that earlier in the day, as a result of at least the initial response, we went online and made a $600 donation. It's not a huge amount, but we're hoping that this will be the catalyst for a lot more. So
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Well,
Thank you.
you're welcome on my behalf that we have the privilege of
Yes.
doing it, but it's really on behalf of all of the people who made those donations. And it's specifically, Mimi, focusing on Holocaust survivors. Tell me, a year ago, before Passover, we were all locked down. Nobody was celebrating the holiday with their families. Elderly survivors, many cases, were alone. I mean, literally alone. Tell me a little bit what's changed in the last year? How are things doing, and what have you been doing to accommodate the needs of the Holocaust survivors in this past year?
Yeah, it's been an incredibly difficult year, but also I think inspiring, especially when I hear communities like yours, not only following what we're doing, but also reaching into their hearts and giving. Everyone's tightening their wallets and their belts right now, and trying to plan for a little bit of an uncertain future. So when people open their hearts and they prioritize giving to others, it's so incredibly meaningful. And it's because of that giving that we've been able to meet the need throughout our locations. We've seen in the last year a threefold increase in people coming to us for help. And we have been able to meet the need only because of people that have met the need and donated. So it's been incredible. And for our Holocaust survivors, especially the program we run in the southern city of Dimona, they have gone in and out of programming based on the lockdowns. So that has been really hard.
I know what you mean because we've spoken about it
Yes.
over the months, but what does that mean, in and out of programming?
Sure. So we have a 35-member team of community members that are Holocaust survivors that are with us every day in our Dimona location, from 8:30 in the morning to 2:30 in the afternoon, doing specific programming for them and having this community together. Due to the lockdowns here in Israel, where people have been restricted to 100 meters from their homes, depending on the coronavirus numbers, they've had to pause and restart. So this has been, as you said, a really isolating year for them, especially last year. Last Pesach was really the beginning, and there was a lot of fear and there was a lot of unknown. This year, I'm so pleased to say that all 35 of them have been vaccinated, and they started just last week, coming back together in the full group of 35. So I think for them, it really is a lot of feelings from slavery to freedom.
Wow.
Which is so meaningful in this time of year. And over the year, even as the program was closed, we were delivering meals to them and checking in with them. And as the restrictions loosened, able to meet with 1/3 of the group at a time. But as of last week, it's full steam ahead, and we are so thrilled.
Thank you. That's first. That's a really optimistic report as we go into the holiday, and so I'm so glad to hear that. It's also a really appropriate metaphor. They're experiencing coming out of slavery in a different
Mhm.
way into freedom, and we're talking. Ironically, we're talking about people who have already experienced that slavery and freedom, surviving the Holocaust in whatever way they did, and being able at some point in their younger lives to come to Israel. So that's really wonderful. And because these people are typically 80 plus, how nice that through you we are able to participate in giving them something really warm, because I know we've spoken about it in the past that this really is their community
Yeah,
in many ways. But they're not the only Holocaust survivors that you're working with,
no,
because they're all over the country. Wherever there are people who
exactly.
don't have money to put food on the table, they turn. So
Exactly. And as you said, this for the Survivor Day program, it is feeling really optimistic. But Jonathan, I think for the other of our communities, the other 5 locations we have throughout Israel that see all kinds of people, including, of course, many Holocaust survivors, we're feeling not as optimistic because we still see a very much increased needs of people that even though Israel's pandemic vaccine response has been incredible and noteworthy and like amazing, we still see the effects of a year of unemployment on our communities, especially in our branches in Tiberias and Orakiva, which is a town right next to like a beach town. So they both really are feeling the lack of the tourism industry.
yes,
So, we are providing this year for Passover more meals than we ever have. We're distributing more grocery shopping carts, and we're seeing more people that are coming to us. And again, we're so inspired that we can help bridge that gap and be a safety net for these people. But it's not as optimistic because we are still see the lingering effects of the very stringent lockdowns here.
right. Yeah, it's been a very hard year, and it was sort of a mixed blessing the other day when I read online somewhere that we have the privilege of having our unemployment rate has gone down to a whopping
Yeah.
16.5%, but it was as high as 22 or 23%. And but by comparison, to emphasize what you're saying, a year ago, before all of this, we were in the low single digits. And
Yeah, it
so
was 4%.
right, Israel's had a very significant drop. We're so grateful, Mamie, that you and all of the team in Mayor Panim are doing what you're doing and give us the opportunity to fund you and be our emissary to do these acts of kindness. The mission of the Genesis 123
Mhm,
Foundation is always to build bridges and not to reinvent the wheel. So with you, we've got such a great
mhm.
partner, and we're really thrilled to be able to continue to sow into what you're doing. On a related but tangent note, for people watching this, we'll be putting up a link to a new program that we launched in January called Hug a Holocaust Survivor. I don't know if I had shared that with you, but because of the experience of the past year, and because that even if everyone's getting vaccinated and coming back into what would have otherwise been the normal circle of life until a year ago, there are many ways, and we have Yom HaShoah, the Holocaust Memorial
Mhm.
Day, coming up next month. We're providing a link for people all around the world to send their greetings and their blessings and their words of comfort to Holocaust survivors online, which allows people to send it in any language, and then through whatever online translating app, we can translate it to Hebrew or Russian or Yiddish or any other language and distribute these gifts. So maybe one day you and I will take a ride down to Dimona and share some of these with the people that you work with.
That is so cool. I love that idea.
Thanks.
And what an amazing way to connect the two communities, especially in their own language. Most of the survivors we see in our Dimona location are Russian speaking. And they've actually started since the pandemic, since they've come together a couple weeks ago, Hebrew lessons together. So
Very nice.
it's super inspiring. And I would love to go back with
Great.
you. And
Great.
I think one thing we really are waiting for here in Israel is to open the skies again so that our community from around the world can not just connect virtually, but can actually hug a Holocaust
Yeah,
survivor.
indeed, indeed. Great. Well, okay. On that note, you have food to prepare and a house to get ready and a family to worry about. And I'm shutting my office door, hearing my
Yes.
wife and kids doing the same. So I
Yes.
want to, again, thank you, Mimi, for taking the time today, for everything that you do. Really, it's really so wonderful. And to be able to take a break from our hectic schedules just to have a conversation and say a word of thanks to those who have given, and I'm prayerful and confident that in addition to thanking those who have already given, that people will see this and I hope choose to step up and enable us to have another conversation and make another donation, hopefully multiple times what we did today.
Thank you so much. And, I feel so privileged that I'm in my house able to be in two places and, turn on the soup and turn off this and be here. But our staff that are on site delivering 15,000 Seder meals today and 500,000 shekels worth of gift cards to grocery stores, they are just heroes to me. And they've been doing it and working nonstop for a year.
15,000 Seder meals. How much does a Seder meal cost, Mimi?
About $40.
$40. So folks, if you want to help participate in
Mhm.
that, $40 is a really very modest amount of money for a
Mhm.
Passover Seder meal. And 500,000 shekels, you're talking
Yes.
about $150,000 worth. So thank you for quantifying that for us.
Yeah.
Mimi Rosemarin, Director of Global Development at Mayor Panim. Thank you. Wishing you and your family a wonderful and joyous holiday and a sense of liberation when you're able to put your feet up Saturday night.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.